Covering the final portion of our lesson on Introduction to Public Speaking, we'll look at and focus on the conclusion. Now, the conclusion tends to be the shortest part of the speech. Its significant use is to signal the end of the speech. During the conclusion, you should reinforce the central idea. Many times, listeners could have stopped listening to you during the body of your speech. You want to drive home the idea of your speech, and you do that with the conclusion. Also, this is where you can summarize your speech. Refer to the introduction to complete the speech. And just keep in mind that your last words linger. Things to avoid: saying thank you, are there any questions? This is only acceptable after a speech is over, after you've received your applause. Then you can let your audience members know that you'll be available for questions. Excellent ways to end a speech: use of a story, calling them to action, or ending on a memorable quote. Things to avoid: saying thank you for your time. Just like with the introduction, you don't want to say thank you there, especially in this classroom setting. You'll be hearing it quite a few times. Sayings like, "It was great to be here," or apologizing for things. And as we've stated throughout the entire speech, you want to avoid the use of negative words whenever you can. So let's focus on tips on how to complete your conclusion. Keep it short. Your conclusion should take up no more than 10% of your speech time. Do not bring up new points during your conclusion. If you felt they were necessary to be brought up, then they should have replaced one of your other main points. Memorize this portion of your speech. Most likely, your audience members will recall your conclusion before they remember anything else about your presentation. So remember to end it on a bang. Some advanced tips: you can have a Q&A time planned out. Be prepared though if no one asks a question right away. Now, Q&A would be good if you were chosen as your office briefer, but for the purpose of this class, you don't get to use a Q&A session. Also, you can have a takeaway, an inspirational thought, or a challenge to your audience members. This will make them feel like you gave them a gift. It makes your speech more memorable. Practice. Write it out and practice, practice, practice. You should practice your conclusion at least 3 times. Now, you should practice leading from the body of the speech through the conclusion. Once you have your introduction and your body and your conclusion all planned out, be sure to practice the entire speech from beginning to end. Practice it until it becomes smooth, and make sure that you don't sound robotic. These are all the tips that I have for you on your introduction to public speaking. We'll cover other tips as we progress through the course.